We always say the band won. The band won.
I mean, we just never have had much.
Hey, it's 6 o'clock. Mayor Barlow's called me a little bit ago and said that he's working some kind of emergency. He said he would be here, hopefully momentarily or maybe before council meeting, hopefully soon. He told me to go ahead and start the pre-council if we wanted to. We do have 2 public hearings coming up, so I think we might need to ease on through everything in the pre-council. And I'd like to welcome everybody. We've got a good crowd here again tonight. Thank y'all for coming. And who wants to pray?
You want us to pray now or at the meeting?
No, we'll pray at the meeting, but you
I
want
can
to do it?
Sure.
Okay, we'll let Allison pray. Do you think we need to now? Or do you want to wait? Anyway,
You gonna do it?
Allison
I
said
will.
she would do that. Okay. Like I say, we've got 2 public hearings they were set for the first one at 6:40. We'll do the Bayou Avenue one at 6:40 and the rezoning of Juniper Avenue at 6:50 or right after the first one. Okay, we need to approve the agenda. Who wants to do that?
Hey, do you want to add an item for discussion, or we just want to talk about? I'd like to see if we can, since we had it in our budget, to go ahead and do our 2.5% for our employees. Since we had it in our budget, let's see if it's something we can talk about, or put it on this agenda, or put it on the next agenda. But I would like to go ahead and get that started if we can.
Effective date.
We need to have it done and submitted to the personnel board by the end of the month, don't we? Or is there a deadline for
We
them?
have to pick a payroll date. Usually we do it in October, but you just pick a payroll date and we have to submit a letter to them for approval.
Okay.
I think that payroll date's November 26th.
Will we have time next meeting? We just do it next meeting?
I would, or it could,
Well, I don't think the personnel, they have to meet to approve it, so
I'm fine. We can
you
put it,
may need to add it.
we can add it tonight
okay.
and then, discuss it. Just put that, where does it need to go? Yep, C, under items for discussion.
Just need to amend the agenda. Jason, if you will.
Yeah, I can handle that.
Got that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who's gonna second it?
I can.
Okay. And the approval of the minutes?
I can do that one.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Okay, I don't see any recognitions as far as you know?
No, sir.
Nothing? Visitors, there is one visitor. Is there any more that's here? Anybody else that maybe wants to get on the agenda and speak? Might be some more come at 7, but. Okay. The mayor's report, I'll let him go into that when he gets here. Public service, I really don't have that much to go over. Public safety, Mike?
I don't have anything. Not today.
Jason?
I'm good.
You good?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Allison?
I could just wait till the regular meeting.
Okay. Mr. Phillips?
I'm good.
Public Works?
I'm good.
Hey, what did I do?
Hey, Randy, you going to sleep tonight?
All right, we can go into the items for discussion, the payment of the bills.
I'll do that one.
I'll second it.
Jason. Mr. Phillips. All right, I'm not for sure about the discussion of the caterer. I guess we can wait until we hear maybe a little more from the mayor on that. And then C is going to be the discussion on the 2.5% raises.
I'll bring that one up.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. We've got two resolutions. We need to handle the budget. Jason, you want to do that?
Yeah, I can do both of those.
I'll second that.
And on B, should B be, should we put B up for immediate adoption, since it's the first time it's been read?
That's what I would think.
Well,
Immediate.
we actually already voted on it. What we're doing is just, we're not taking a vote on whether to do it. We're just adopting the
Formalize it.
resolution to formalize it.
Okay,
Because if you look in the way it's written, it says it's already,
that's
It's
fine.
got in the resolution that it was done October 18th.
right.
Okay.
So I think you can go ahead and just,
Yes.
Okay.
The taxes that we're to pay for the, I only see where it's listing FICA payments.
that's all you can take out of the ARP.
That was
Okay,
a little,
That's on the ARP, that's all you can take out of that. but the
I
rest-
gotcha. I remember that being said. Okay.
it was changed in the wording on the resolution. Also, let me look real quick too. There was one word that I seen in the one I had. Okay, I seen that got changed, so that's fine. I think you know what I'm talking about. Okay. I just noticed that. All right, I guess, we can, stay in pre-council if mayor, comes in. He can, give his report. And, other than that, everything seems like it's, I hope might go pretty good, pretty fast. So, hey, I hate y'all come so early.
Maybe we can have an open mic night if anybody wants to come up, tell a joke, sing. Nobody?
But the ones that are here for the public hearing, it was announced for 6:40, so we need to wait to 6:40 to handle that. Anything else? Anybody?
Heather, was the Union Chapel on there? Did we need to amend that to it?
The mayor didn't have me add it to the.
I was like, anybody want to entertain us?
When we raise it up, again, just add that under the, like, if you want to talk about it, amend the agenda, add it. And I discussed it with him.
Oh, okay.
You'll see it in your packet, it's what I
Okay.
just gave you. If you look at it, the strike-through is what the proposed changes are taken out. So like, the only thing that was changed was on number 8. It would say nonprofit shall not be responsible, and it used to say shall be solely responsible.
I see
It's got
that.
that marked
Where's
through,
his
you'll see.
ordinance golf cart ordinance? Got this is to approve.
And that, I don't think the
Draft.
amendment has ever been adopted,
Who has it though?
the ladies club asked for those
just saying,
changes.
I hadn't
Y'all
seen
never decide whether y'all want to do them or not. So I wanted y'all to see what they are, and then I've got
what he's asking.
two different ones
Got 'em.
available, one with it and one without it, whatever y'all
This
decide.
guy's asking us to approve it. Nothing in here.
I'm just kind of confused on that number 8 though. About if there is a cost
We can just
overrun.
keep it open and let's
They-
see,
The
yeah.
original one said they were
If he comes, he
responsible.
can
Right,
handle
so
it.
that
Now
was
they
like-
say
Go
they
from
don't
there.
want it. They want
He
other
didn't
people.
give me any.
That were their requested changes.
Right, but if it does overrun, who is responsible?
The city's going to end up being responsible.
Yeah, there's no limit to it. So where's the protection of if they say, let's bring this stuff in?
Well, that's why I wanted y'all to look at it.
I can't go along with that.
That's why I wanted y'all to look at it. That was, we've never really decided. Now, since this was originally done, they said they were going to stop at 120.
discussed, and everybody's had a chance to go over it and look at it, and there is no questions, or I've heard of no opposition, so if there's nobody to say anything,
Not everybody showed up.
Okay, it's 7 PM. I'd like to call the Satsuma City Council to order for our regular meeting of November the 2nd, 2021. As in all meetings, we start out with our invocation. I think Miss Allison Reese is going to give the invocation tonight. So if you would, please silence your phones, stand, and remain standing after for the pledge.
Let us pray. Father God, we come to you tonight, and we thank you for your many blessings. We ask that you put your hand of healing on those that are hurt and care for those that are losing loved ones. We ask that you protect our first responders, Lord, and you be with them and their families. We also ask that you be with us during this meeting. Help us make decisions that are pleasing to you, Lord. And we do all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Reese. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Little,
Present.
Councilmember Butler,
Present.
Councilmember Skelton,
Here.
Councilmember Reese,
Present.
Councilmember Phillips,
Here.
Mayor Barlow.
Here. Please let the record reflect that all are here, including the department heads, the city clerk, and the city attorney. Next item on the agenda was a public hearing. Both of these have had multiple public hearings are brought up before the planning board and the council now. The first one, public hearing held at 6:40 PM tonight here before the council meeting, was to rezone property at 203 Bayou East from R1 to an R2. Is there any further discussion that we need to have on the this rezoning of this property? If not, I'll entertain a motion for the rezoning of the property.
I'll put that in form of motion, Mayor.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Phillips and seconded by Mr. Little to approve the rezoning of the property at 203 East Bayou. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Moving on, at 6:50 tonight, we had a public hearing held for property located at 168 Juniper Avenue. It was moving the B1 back onto Mr. Brannon's property, taking it, I think it was around 100 feet, or maybe it was even a little less than that, I don't know. But Mr. Brannon's purpose is he's wanting to build some storage for boats, and I think he had said earlier RVs, but tonight I think you just said for boat storage. But that was the purpose in bringing the zoning back. Again, for the record, there was no opposition at the planning board and or here at the council that we've heard. Is there any discussion on this? Once again, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll put it in motion, Mayor.
Thank you.
Second.
Again, Mr. Phillips making a motion, Mr. Little second. Any further? If no further discussion, all those in favor signify by aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, well, thank you for, gentlemen, so I think if y'all want to leave, y'all can go ahead. That should take care of the multiple times. You're welcome, Mr. Cunningham. Next thing on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
I'd like to add an item number C for consideration of 2.5% across the board raise for our city employees.
I was late attending the workshop tonight, so Mr. Little, in my absence, brought this up. Mr. Little, what was the feeling of the council on the adding on the agenda this late?
We just decided to make it as number C to discuss it, Mayor. Talking about some time restraints. So I agreed.
Okay. If everybody on the council agreed to add on, I'll agree to add that on. Any other changes or corrections that need to be made before the agenda? I'll entertain a motion to approve the.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Skelton, seconded by Ms. Reese to approve the agenda with the one add-on. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Next item is approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of October 19th, 2021.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes as distributed.
Second.
And the one correction that we had asked has been addressed. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Motion made by Mr. Skelton, seconded by Mr. Butler to approve the minutes. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next thing was recognitions. I don't think, unless there's been an add-on, that we have any. So if there are none, we'll move on to visitors. The only one that I understand on the agenda, Mr. David Gerald. David, are you here tonight? Would you like to come on up, sir?
Good evening. I was here in September and brought this up about the off-road vehicles on city streets, and I think somebody mentioned that there was already an ordinance on the books to address this. Ms. Davis checked for me and said there was not. The chief has a proposed ordinance that's, I guess, been brought up before. I just want to know why that hasn't been passed. I'd like to see the council discuss it and ideally pass that ordinance to give the law enforcement some authority to deal with those activities that are going on. So that's really it.
Does anybody have a copy of the ordinance we're talking about? I've never seen it.
I printed out some. I can, if y'all don't have one, I printed out a few copies of it.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'll take one, I won't have to hunt up one. Thank you.
That was, yeah, that's what Chief sent me. I dodged another one on the way here tonight. And I think there was an incident, Chief can correct me, a few weeks ago on Hartley Road where there was a four-wheeler with two people on it that got hit by a car. Is that right?
There was an accident involving an ATV, yes.
I don't know if anybody was hurt, but, so that happened.
Are they okay?
Corporal, didn't you work that accident?
Yes, sir.
You tell them a little bit more about it?
Well, just there was an ATV coming off Saraland Avenue that ran that stop sign there. It was clipped by an SUV that was headed back toward 43 on Park. There was no injuries, it was property damage, but it had the opportunity and the chances that it could have been a significant wreck and caused some pretty bad injuries to some juveniles.
It happens every day. I mean, they're all over the place, so. But that just gives the police department something they can do about it, and I guess once some citations get written, then I guess people will start to take notice.
Did you write citations in that accident?
Yes, sir.
For-
The whole report, everything was done on it. As far as the citations part of it, for you to issue citations, all of them are juvenile, is the meanings of behind the ordinances on that. City ordinances will stay inside our city. If you write a juvenile, a violation of your city ordinance. As far as writing in the UTC, it is under my impression, I believe you're gonna have to take all of them to Strickland. And as far as trying to push a UTC through Strickland with our court systems, you're pretty much going to be at a standstill. It would be very, very beneficial to the police department and the citizens, in my personal opinion, if there was a municipal ordinance passed on this, and you could write municipal ordinance tickets to these juvenile driving these four-wheelers, golf carts, any kind of off-road ATV.
And so the ordinance has a provision you can cite the parents or guardians of a minor for allowing them to be on the road doing that. So I think it's a good idea.
Well, I think you can write a UTC also in that respect to a parent allowing the child to do that.
Mayor, I did some research on that, and that requires the child to be operating a motor vehicle that has to be registered. It doesn't apply to ATVs.
So, but I mean, we still could, I mean, I'm supportive of the ordinance. We've been saying this for a while. If that's what they want to do, let's go ahead and do it.
Yes, sir.
Because something needs to be done because the amount of complaints that we're having are every day.
Yes, sir. And I spoke to the city prosecutor about the possibility of charging parents with reckless endangerment, which is really the only thing that would even come close to allowing us to hold the parents accountable, and the city prosecutor was not comfortable prosecuting those cases. So what we needed was a less severe tool to deal with it, which is why I proposed the ordinance.
Mayor, I'm 100% in favor of some type of ordinance, but I really believe we need to have a workshop on this and get the ordinances other cities have created, something for us to review and decide on what we want to do. Because we go create one, I don't want it to be to where it's just an ordinance on the books. Or which I'd like to see it enforced.
Well, let's
And
get
I
together.
know it's already written, Fairhope, in several different places. I mean, we don't have to recreate the wheel. We just need to look at them and see what's best fits our city. But something does need to be done. I mean, it's kind of dangerous. Sometimes I was behind two golf carts at 9:30 at night, both of them riding the streets with no lights on and 4 or 5 children on them.
And they almost never have helmets. I mean, I pulled on Joe Janelle a few days ago, and there was a golf cart with looked like no older than 8 or 9, driving, 4 across the seat, So it's just dangerous, I'm all for people having fun, but there's places to ride those things that is not the roads.
Out in the street.
And I guess I could speak on, I have a 15-year-old who is learning how to drive, and she is learning the rules of the road. And while she may not know all of them, the younger kids who are on these ATVs and carts, they may not know all the rules either. And
Yeah.
I mean, that would change your life if your children were to, injure or kill another child. I mean, they'd be affected the rest of their life, and
Yeah, never get over that.
that's tough.
I have a 16-year-old. He just started driving this year, a few months ago. Same boat.
Yeah.
He's out there by himself now. So he's not going to be looking down at a go-kart, in a pickup truck looking down. You're not going to see that, so.
Well, we also have a lot of motorcycles, ATVs running the streets, no helmets. And them's on the book, if I'm not wrong, Chief, requirement of
Just for motorcycles, it
Right,
doesn't.
and I see them several times a week now, through the neighborhoods.
Okay, well, thank you. I think you see that everybody up here agrees that
Yeah.
something has got to be done. I do agree with Mr. Phillips, probably some time to sit and discuss that among all of us, and then something that the prosecutor feels comfortable with.
Okay.
So, thank you for bringing it back up again.
All right, thank y'all.
Okay, Mr. Phillips, regarding the workshop, we can either address that now or under my comments tonight, I was going to ask if we needed one.
I'd like to, when we go have our next workshop, that'd be one of the items we discuss.
Well, as the holiday season's approaching, our calendar's starting to get a little more and more hectic, so that's all I wanted to make sure before we said anything, that it's something that fits everyone's schedule here tonight.
Maybe Tuesday, the 16th, if we showed up at 5:30, we could discuss it before the pre-council.
I think 30 minutes is enough time.
I'm just saying if we could just tack it on there, if people are having a hard time with other days of availability.
Chief, did you model this after another city?
Parts of it I got from the city, parts of it I got from the state statute that the mayor mentioned about allowing minors to drive. Because the biggest problem that we're having is, the juveniles and the underage kids. And, I mean, if I was 12 years old and my parents told me I could go ride a golf cart down the city streets, I wouldn't think twice about it. So what we really need was a tool to hold the parents accountable. So the meat of that was based on the state statute.
Gotcha.
If we meet at 5:30, maybe we go to 6:30, since the pre-council tonight was so short. Is that enough time to make a change like that? How many days?
Or we could do
What about
next
Tuesday
Tuesday?
the 9th at 5:30 or 6 o'clock?
I won't be able to make it. I could do Monday, the 15th.
If you want to add it on to the agenda, it's going to be hard to have a workshop on the 15th and have it ready to go for the night of the 16th. But I'm available also. The 9th is a Tuesday night, which we're up here most nights. What's y'all schedules look like, Ernie?
I'm fine too, but I mean, Chief's made a recommendation. I don't really think it's gonna take that long.
I don't either.
I mean, in my mind, unless y'all think you're gonna make some big changes or whatever.
The only adder I would like to do would be under D, the exclusions, is include the fire department in there for our side-by-side and public works.
And I guess I'd like to see what section 1-14 is. Unless you know what it is now.
That-
So
that's
we need
just
to look at
the-
other cities and what
That's
they
just the
work.
punishment
This is very vague right now, what I'm looking
that
at.
specifies how the offense is to be.
Yeah, I mean, I was just wondering what the punishment is.
It can
We
be,
got you got an 18-year-old on here and you can drive at 16.
basically a fine or jail time.
What's the pleasure of the council? We could set it whenever y'all want to do it. If
I said the 16th at 5:30, but
I'm good with that.
that way we can just all do it in the same day.
What time, where at, Allison?
Tuesday, the 16th at 5:30 before the council, pre-council meeting.
That would be good.
I can do any time.
what time did you want to make it?
5:30, if that pleases the council.
Right before the next council meeting.
Yes, sir.
Right before the next council meeting.
Heather, could you have us 3 or 4 different cities that created these ordinances, copy theirs? Fairhope, I think, has a good one. And I'm not sure which other cities have done them. Yeah. And it don't necessarily have to be one in the state of Alabama, I mean.
Okay, well, it's going to, all right, well, we can work just on the ordinance. It's not going to be able to be put formal, I don't think, and pass that night, but maybe we can have it ready for the first one in December. All right, we'll set a public hearing, if that's what the wishes of the council is, for Tuesday, the 16th, for us to work at a workshop for 5:30.
Workshop, not a public hearing, right?
No, it can't be, I mean, we don't have anything really to put out. Is there anyone else wanting to approach the council tonight? Well, that's good. If not, we're going to move on to the mayor's report, and I'm hoping that we can address some of the issues of some of our citizens here tonight so they can go ahead and leave, because I think they have some specific things they're here on. Ms. Silcox, would you like to come up tonight? I know you'd had some questions, or we had talked briefly about some of the property that we had asked that you try to bring in compliance a couple of months ago, and we gave you 2 months to work on some of that property. Perhaps you could tell the council what you've done. And
Yes, sir, we did get the 2 houses down that we were trying to do in the 60 days. We are starting to work on the one that we're going to rent out. The other 2 are rented and have been cleaned up and everything, so I think we're good for now, hopefully.
Haul up all the stuff on the houses.
Not yet. I have like 3 people that are wanting to come and pick up some of the wood. Some of that wood undoubtedly is good wood to somebody. So they're going to do that in the next week or so, and then after that, I'm going to get a dumpster and get the rest of it cleaned up. So.
okay. Well, it's what we asked you is to make significant progress at least before you come back, and I think by taking 2 of them totally down, and I think there was a trailer or something that
The trailer got taken away Saturday,
all
so
that
it's gone.
way. If you can, hopefully get someone to get the wood that's there and go ahead and get that
Yes, I would like it cleaned up too.
stuff up, but I do think that you and your brother make a significant effort to make improvements in the property, so. Does any of y'all had a chance to go out and look at any of it? See? Well, if the council has nothing else, thank you, Tammy, for coming up tonight and trying to work with us, and we'll try to work with you, and good luck on taking care of all the
Thank you.
matters you're addressing right now. Steve, nice seeing you. Thanks for coming. Okay, we have several ladies from the Ladies Club here tonight, and I think that probably the contract that with the city is that the purpose and y'all's attendance tonight on the.
It could be. We would like for it to be.
Okay, well, Jay and I spoke earlier today about that. If you would like to come up, or if y'all would like to address us so we can hopefully clear this up so y'all don't have to come up here to every council meeting.
I'm Lavinia Spotswood, 150 Bio Avenue, on the agreement. If y'all could just shed some light as to where we are.
I think, ladies, I did bring one with changes that y'all suggested, and one that, I don't believe the second amended was passed that I recall, but I didn't go back and check. But the council has a copy of your proposed changes, and I think y'all would need to decide if that's, whether you would like to accept those or not. It's on page 3 of the agreement. It's the item in paragraph C, and then in 8. C changes it where the nonprofit was supposed to raise the monetary funds equal to the exceeding the budget we had for the Union Chapel, and the requested change was that the nonprofit, along with the community and the city, would be responsible for raising the money. That's in C. That's the change they've requested. And they also, I don't think this was a change from the prior one, but their limit was $120,000.
That's correct.
They had done. Then under item C, under 8, if it went over budget, the original proposal was for the nonprofit to be solely responsible for raising and paying additional amounts to cover any over budgeted items cost. They've requested that they not be responsible for that unless they agreed to it.
That's correct. That's our understanding.
But those are the items that y'all would need to see if y'all would like to accept those changes or not.
Well, any comment from the council on the changes?
Yeah, I've got some concerns with number 8. Seeing as how we don't know what the costs are going to be at the moment, and how any excess above what is stated in paragraph C, that they would not be responsible for anything above that, should there be cost overruns. And I just can't see how I can agree with something like this, not knowing.
Well, the monetary overrun there is stating that the Women's Club would not be responsible. Now, the general contractor, now, let me back up. If we make the changes, we understand we would be responsible for it. But, we're not going to be making any changes once we come and when we settle on the agreement. We just, we're not going to be responsible for any overruns unless we approve it. And I don't think that's going to be a big issue.
That's what I'm trying to make sure we're all on the same
Yeah.
page here, is because if you say 120,000 and the city agrees to put in X dollars, and then we get to get into the building the project and it's $200,000, somebody's got to come up with 200 minus X plus 120.
Well, if you recall, now, this agreement does not address Phase 1 or Phase 2. Phase 1, we have the money now to do Phase 1. So, if we're putting in $120,000, that doesn't mean, and I think I have stated this several times, that that's not all we're going to put in. But we're coming to the table, to you people, asking how much are y'all going to put in. We didn't say a dollar amount, but we do need to know where y'all stand. And that's why we don't have an agreement with you right now.
Right.
So we need to have an agreement so we all know. But that, Jason, that's a good question.
Yes, ma'am. That's my concern
I
with
meant,
number 8.
because we have to know, just like you have to know.
Yes, ma'am.
So, be
Well, I
glad that.
support trying to help y'all. Now, I do understand Mr. Skelton's concern that we can't just open-endedly go into something, but I don't think y'all were expecting that either.
No.
So,
I think that reads that we're asking for monetary support. We didn't put a dollar amount.
well,
We don't know what that is right now.
Well, to me, I understand it as anything over $120,000, which is a question mark. So, even if we said we would give you $20,000, let's say, if it went over $100,000, then that means we got to give you $120,000. So we don't know what would be over.
I think this agreement is just something that's been pending since June, if I recall right.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. So, it's in your lap.
And she brought up a good point. This agreement was done before they brought up the proposal of doing it in phases. You know, this is just when we had nothing.
Exactly.
going forward. So I think that makes a little bit of difference, that you having something going forward.
Yes. I mean, we
Satisfy the wording so that they feel comfortable that we are supportive of the project and that
Well, if you look at if you're looking at number 8, there's two different things here that are kind of, in my mind, possibilities. One, it is an attempt to address cost overruns by the Women's Club making requested changes that cause the cost overruns. And then you have the other issue is it's just a cost overrun because of materials or whatever, and God knows every project you ever build something in, there's cost overruns.
Exactly.
So the way that they've requested is that they shouldn't be solely responsible. Maybe you could do it is that the city would be agreeable to share a percent of the cost, if the ladies club would be able to share the percent of the cost of the overrun. Instead of, it's kind of vague, it says they shall not be responsible for raising and paying additional amounts unless they requested it. If you maybe added a sentence that the city agrees to paying either a dollar amount on the cost overruns or a percentage of whatever the cost is, would be too significant.
Because the agreement states solely responsible, the women's club would be solely responsible. And there's just no way that we would be solely responsible for any overruns. But whomever the general contractor is, you know, should notify us as a group if there's any big difference there. See what I'm saying? There's going to be a lot of responsibility for this general contractor. We're not going to be, what we're asking in the amendment of this agreement is on the solely responsible. The Women's Club cannot be solely responsible for any overruns. We feel like that's just a stated thing. We just can't, accept that. And that was part of the agreement. As we was making changes, we wanted that to be known. And I think the other one, we had the overrun, and what was the other one?
It's in item C, and you were changing it to where it says prior to the beginning of any work or excavation or construction of public use, the nonprofit originally said they are solely responsible for raising money, monetary funds equal to or exceeding the budget as approved by the city. And you wanted to add that the community and the city would all be responsible.
Yes. See, the agreement first states that we would be solely responsible for building this chapel. Okay, 5 years, well, really 5.5 years now has passed. A lot of things have happened, and we have not been able to raise a lot of extra funds. But we're coming to the table with $120,000. All that we're asking for y'all is to give us an idea as to what you're going to do to help us out so that we'll know where we are. And that's just a sound business practice.
Does anybody know where it's going to come out of this?
That's a good question, Allison, because we've been wondering that too.
And, I mean, where are you guys now as far as how much is it going to take to get the project completed?
We feel like probably it's going to be, we don't know for sure, but probably $210,000.
The real number.
I don't have a real number now because we have not got the bids yet back from the contractor. But we do know, we've been promised and we've been told that we do have enough to build phase 1.
So it looks like maybe $90,000 is what you're short?
We will probably be short probably 90 to 100,000. Lumber's come down, so that's going to help us out tremendously
And
there.
I think we have been not moving forward with this contract because we were not the council that was here to begin with. And at that time, there was no, I'm sorry, was there a comment? No? Okay. The council that it was run past, there was no requirement from the city at that time, from the ladies' club. They were going to handle everything. So I think it now puts the responsibility on the city to have the project completed. So it's a totally different ballgame. It's not the same at all. And so it would be like you would be forcing the city to help with the funding, when before it was just going to be all on the ladies' club.
Okay, well, I disagree with you on that.
Okay.
Because when we started this project back 5 years ago, irregardless of who sat on this council, we're building this building to give to you people. And I don't know of another organization in Satsuma that has raised $120,000. And we're here we want an agreement. If you're not going to sign it, we need to know.
Well, I know that I cannot sign this, and that the city is actually paying for the attorney to work on it for an organization outside of the city. So I don't know that the city should be paying for our
Satsuma
attorney.
Women's Club is an organization outside of the city?
Well, taxpayers don't fund their group. It's a nonprofit.
A group made up of our citizens is not a group outside of the city. I'm sorry. And like you said, are you opposed to this or not? 'Cause
Yes, I'm opposed to this. Yes,
I don't,
I am.
you haven't been supportive or helpful of this chapel from the start.
Oh, my gosh, I made a large donation. Thank you.
Why don't you tell us tonight? I mean, you know, they're sitting here, they're trying to raise money, they coming up here.
Why don't you tell us where it's going to come from?
Why don't we consider selling some of the lots around Laurel Drive and put some of those proceeds toward it? How about that?
Sell them one of the lots, so go to the chapel.
Well, why is
Yeah.
no one else speaking up then? Jason and I talked, but no one else is saying anything, so here's your opportunity
What
to
did
address
you want to
the
say?
ladies' club.
I think that we could sell some of the lots along Laurel and put that money toward perhaps some improvements there at that park and also some other parks in the city. I think it'd be a good addition to that area. It could be some nice homes. Could generate revenue, and like you said, I will agree with that. It would actually give some free money perhaps to do some smaller projects that we just wasn't able to put in the budget this year.
And I guess it boils down to, do you people want this Union Chapel? Do you want it? Do you want, I mean, you're going to get the revenue from it. You know, you're going to have a place to rent out. And really, basically, the two changes is the overruns, which, you know, that's just basic, you know, on monitoring overruns. And the other thing is just asking, we didn't ask for a dollar amount. All we want to know is that you're going to support this Union Chapel with monetary funds. We're not asking for a dollar amount, Allison,
I'm
or
not sure how
anybody
we would-
else. We just need to know where you stand, and when we need to sign an agreement. Now, like I say, we got to make plans. If we don't have an agreement from y'all right now, we don't have an agreement. We got to have an agreement. And, you know, that's just what it boils down to. It's real simple. If you don't want to sign it, that's okay too.
Got it right now?
But we'll do whatever. But we don't operate without a signed agreement.
All right, well,
Not of the city's money.
like Mr. Little and Mr. Butler saying
They-
that
if
perhaps
they-
selling
if
the
they got
lots
a-
could be
If they got a lot.
generate some revenue.
But we
Okay.
can't do with the city's money.
I mean, we could, that
What's
would
the
give us a
discussion,
chance to
Mayor?
liquidate some money. And
I can't hear. What'd y'all say?
I said, Mr. Little and Mr. Butler both said selling the lots might be a good idea.
It's surveyed. I mean, that was done a couple months ago, if I'm not wrong. There's 11 lots sitting there. Tom's left, if I'm not wrong, it's 11.
So are we supposed to be put on hold for a signed agreement until y'all decide if you're gonna sell lots or something like that? Should we proceed on?
Well, if we had some money, I think that we would be able to tell you, we can give you X amount of dollars. to help.
And there again, let me bear, we didn't ask for a dollar amount. We just asked for monetary support.
Give you monetary support, though, we've got to find how we can get the funds, and that's what I'm saying is how I think we could come up with the money. If we're sitting here saying we're looking at $90,000 to $100,000 realistically, then perhaps one or two of those lots could help get us to the mark we need to get the project really going.
Okay, well, I guess.
Because like you said, after 5 years and we hadn't even really done anything.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure a way to help y'all. Let's either get this thing going or, I mean, we don't need to every Tuesday night.
Okay, exactly. We don't need to keep on lingering, and I agree with that. I mean, we all need to know where everybody stands, and definitely us, because we're continuing with fundraisers. But we just need to know, where do we stand right now? Are y'all going, you're going to get back with us on this, on the agreement, yes or no? That's really all we need to know, because I don't know of any other terminology that I can suggest that you change.
Let me, Judy Callan, let me do just a little interjection here. We were approached by the previous mayor, and we met with him along with G.A. West, Tom Brienne was there, and we were told that this would fall under the capital improvement also, so that's what I've been going by. I understand there is some capital improvement money. I understand there's a lot of capital improvement money. So my question would be, does this fall under capital improvement? I agree with Lavinia. My ladies are getting frustrated. The community's getting frustrated, so we need to move on. But I would like to see if it does fall under capital improvement. I also agree that for the city to grow, we need to sell some property. So, not mine, but I do, if that's an option for the city, I think that's also a good option. But I wish we would investigate capital improvement. Thank you.
So any other questions for me as far as treasurer? I'm the treasurer, and like I say, we've got $120,000 we're bringing to the table. We'd like to have a signed agreement. If you can't sign this agreement, well then please just let us know, and then we'll decide on what we are going to do.
Ms. Spotswood, at this time, and looking back, like you say, you want to talk about, previous council. When you talk about monetary, and that's to the point. You say you're not talking about monetary, but that's what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Then, talking about coming out of capital or whatever, and I can't speak for the rest of the other ones, but I think, in my mind, we was thinking maybe $10,000, $20,000. Somewhere in that neighborhood. And I would agree to that now, but like you say, agreeing to $100,000, that's a lot of unknowns there that we've got to figure out where that's going to come from. And that's down, to the bottom line, that's what we're talking about. And, if you want us to say we'll give $10,000 or $20,000,
Well, we weren't asking for a dollar amount, Randy, in the agreement. We said we were just asking an incorporated community and the city monetary support.
I would just hate to.
We didn't put a dollar amount in there.
I would just hate to start the project, get it blacked in with what, funds we have. And granted, lumber has come down. But what's skyrocketed and what's taken so much time is the inside of a home or the inside of finishing it from there. Yeah. And I don't know that, and none of us know that that $100,000 might do it either. And to agree to something like that, it's just gonna be hard. And, if you wanna start the project and get it blacked in, I'd hate for it to see it set there in that.
We would not allow that to happen. We believe, we have faith that it's going to happen, Randy. That's all that I can say, and that's about all I have to say tonight, is that you have an agreement. If you want to sign the agreement, let us know, contact Judy Callan, and then the Women's Club will meet, and we'll decide on what we can do and what we can live with. Because we feel like that the agreement that we presented back, you've had it since June. This is November. We just need to know where you stand. I know you've been through budgets. I don't think that the Union Chapel was mentioned one time about any appropriations. So, you have the agreement. If you can't live with it, well, then just let us know. Any other questions? I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
And we'll work on the wording with Jay to see if it's something that can please the council and y'all to get a couple of those words changed. The council, some of them are worried, and I understand that. They don't want to say that we're just going into something not knowing what the final cost is going to be. So we need to have something to guard, to take care of the city, to make sure that we don't get into something like that. But, I do want to help bring this project that you said, like you've said, is 5.5 years into.
It's been long overdue. So one final question. On the phase 1 and phase 2, is that going to be a separate question to y'all, adoption? How are you going to handle this? We talked about phase 1 and phase 2, I think, at our last council meeting. If we feel like, and we can come up with figures. See, this phase 1 and phase 2 is not in the agreement. Phase 1, if this is something that we can present to the council, that we have enough funds to do phase 1, is this going, are y'all going to entertain this idea?
I think the council would feel better if they had anything in writing from you stating, this is how much we can do, we've got enough to get this much done. It gives us an idea of where y'all are at and what we can get for the money you have.
But are you opposed to the phase 1 and phase 2?
I think it's the right way to go.
No, I'm not at all, I didn't say that.
Okay.
So,
Randy, you shaking your head, are you?
Not opposed to that.
Okay. That's sort of what we was, because it's not in the agreement that Jay worked up for us. Okay.
all right, thank you, Ms. Spotswood.
Thank you.
Ms. Callan. Okay, moving on down, I would like to say that October, we had a lot of stuff that went on in our city. Had several ball games here. The parks were full. The soccer at Gold Leaf Church every Saturday was a tremendous crowd. I hope that some of y'all got a chance to go by and see that. The Methodist Church over there with their pumpkin patch, they did a real good job. Had a lot of people over there every day. I think the trunk or treat at the First Baptist of Satsuma went well. We had something, I think it was the first ever witches ride. That was Saturday the 30th. I don't know if any of you saw that, but that turned out to be quite a large number of people. I think they raised some money for someone that's been sick or ill, and so I don't know if that's going to be something that they turn into an annual event or not. Any of y'all have any ideas on what that may do on that for the future? Last week, Tom Brianne and I met here at City Hall with Robbie from Goodwin Mills and Kaywood regarding the Go Mesa money that we have for Steel Creek. basically, the meeting was that we just wanted to find out what they had, what they're doing, and let's see what type of movement we can have, and maybe start getting a monthly progress report on what they're doing, because we hadn't been hearing anything. So hopefully we will start in December receiving information on what they're doing or what they might need from the city, but something that shows that the movement is taking place, because I think we need to have that for the grant to show that that project is progressing. I'd also like to express the sympathies to the families of Mr. Chuck Logan there. Y'all may know it, the last house on Baker Road, and also Mr. Rankin Barnes up here on Highway 43, both residents that passed away. So if y'all have a chance to see any of their family and report the the sympathies to them if you see any of those. I may have seen we've actually had some housing projects getting started. I had Tom put together a list of the homes that we have under construction. And I think we have 16 houses under construction currently, and then we have an 11-home subdivision that we're hoping that they will finalize the paperwork in the next couple of weeks on to get started. Also, he said the pilot addition back there where they're going to do the tires and all is still progressing. They're still getting that in order, so hopefully that construction will start soon. I know this is mainly the water board topic, and we will get into more details next Monday night at the water board, but Jay has been working also with Tom and with Steve from the water board, trying to keep that project moving forward and getting what we need as far as identifying those questionable right-of-ways that we have over there in the streets. So it may require us to do a little surveying over there to identify what was the unopened road and what they've started using. We'd like to remind everybody in the upcoming month, I think the Lodge is having a gumbo sale this weekend. It's usually a pretty good fundraiser for them. The Women's Club, I think y'all are having your event on Sunday, right? Starting is at 12 to 3. Y'all still have tickets available for that?
Got 27 here tonight.
Okay. I hope y'all are able to have a good crowd there, and Mr. Grant's certainly a good entertainer. As we said earlier tonight, the next 2 months are going to be quite hectic with our schedule, the holiday schedule coming up. Veterans Day is Thursday week. Of course, Mr. Presnall there and his wife, Miss Shirley, along with Edith, are putting those plans together. And
by the way, Mark, that's happened to fall this year on the day after the Marine Corps birthday. So if you see a Marine on Veterans Day, be kind to him, because he may still have a little.
let's hope the weather will be real nice, and we can have a good event with a good turnout there. So I want y'all to know that will be coming up. Also, tonight, I think on our items for discussion, we got discussion for the caterer and the speaker on the municipal dinner. So that will be, I think that's set for the 18th. Is that correct? So make sure you have your calendar, so we'll have Tuesday nights, and that'll pretty well have the Thursdays filled up with city meetings. All right, well, that's basically the things that I have to cover tonight, so we'll move to public services. Mr. Little.
Mayor, talking about building houses and stuff, we are selling a good many building permits and license and such, which is a good thing. Also, I wanted to thank the Public Works. They went down and done a little work down at the seniors building, so thank you to them.
Okay.
Also, had a report for the seniors. I think the Meals on Wheels program delivered like 824 meals this month, or this past month. About the same amount of people. There's normally a couple of dozen that comes down on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I believe that's all I had, Mayor. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Little. Public Safety, Mr. Butler.
Out on the fire department, we got the reports for the month of October. We got EMS, we got 47 calls. For the fire, we got 23 calls for a total calls of 70 for the month. And we got mutual aid for 5 calls for outside the city. And other than that, I don't have anything.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Moving on, Mr. Skelton.
I don't have anything.
Ms. Reese.
Yes, sir. I was asked to make a few announcements, so I will. There will be a Christmas open house at McConaughey Drugstore on Friday, November 5th, and there will be donuts with Dan McConaughey. So make sure you stop by and see them. Also, another open house will be at a Little Shop on Saturday, November 6th. Looks like they're already getting decorated with the red ribbon around their trees. Also, the Heartbroken Parents Memorial Tree at Baldwin Square. Their ceremony is going to be November 15th at 6:30. I don't have any details on that, but Edith did give me that information, so if you want to contact City Hall and speak to Edith, I'm sure she'll be able to put you in touch with the right folks. Also, reports from the library. There are a lot of events coming up. I will mention 2 good things. They got 2 grants. One was from the Gulf Coast RC&D. They received $5,000 to start a butterfly garden and an outdoor reading area project. The Satsuma Public Library Foundation will also contribute $2,000 towards the project, and it will be an outdoor reading area to provide an open air space for patrons to enjoy as we continue to be mindful of COVID-19 pandemic-related health concerns. Also, it will be showcasing the wonderful way and the importance of pollinators and how they impact the whole environment. Also, the Alabama Public Library Services and Technology Act and the Satsuma Public Library they were awarded $7,000, and the foundation will also contribute an additional $2,000 for benefiting patrons of all ages, and it will be used to purchase up-to-date resources in our nonfiction collection. The collection development focus area will include science, technology, and medical resources. It's particularly important to make sure the books in these areas are current and to provide up-to-date information. Also, some upcoming events at the library. There will be a book signing with Rhoda Melendez on Tuesday, November 9th at 11 a.m. A book signing with Mary Palmer on Thursday, November 18th at 11 a.m. The preschool story time with Bridgeway Academy will be on November 17th and 18th at 10 a.m. And then on Wednesday, November 17th at 3 p.m., there will be the Thanksgiving edition of Children's Story Time, and that's open to all ages. If you want additional information, I have a few flyers up here, or you can contact the library or check their social media page. Also, thank you to Public Works, the Parks Department, and the Police Department for a successful Howell-Oweny Pet Parade. We had that October 23rd in Baldwin Square. We had 29 registered animals. Together with those registrations and donations, we raised $422 to be put towards the completion of the Bark Park. We did not that we haven't, but no more applications were being accepted this year for that synthetic recycled tire program. So we're going to move forward without that surface, and then hopefully maybe in the new year they'll be able to provide us with the surface. But we've got to work on a few things: water hookup for the fountain, for the water source for the dogs, and we're going to get a few features and some benches, and then really put some hard work into the park and get it all spruced up. Also, last but not least, the Spirit of Satsuma Band competed in Daphne for their final competition of the year, and they all received superior ratings. So congratulations to them. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Phillips?
I have nothing tonight, Mayor.
Moving on down, items for discussion and consideration, the payment of the bills.
I make a motion, we pay the bills in the amount of $36,298.61.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Skelton, seconded by Mr. Phillips, pay the bills and set them out. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Show it passed. Next item is discussion of the caterer and a speaker for the municipal dinner that we're hosting on November the 18th at Steel Creek Lodge. I think in your packet, y'all got some bids for the caterers. Okay, does everybody have the proposals? See that Stoney's has one, the first one.
I will mention that we budgeted $1,700 for this event.
Stoney submitted a price, according to this, for 120 people, $1,560. Does everybody agree that that's what that says?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
We have a second one, was according to mine, anyway, it says, also $1,560 is the same exact price for Full of Grace Catering, is that? $120 people, $1,560 also. The Women's Club, $2,800. Fourth one we have is the chalkboard. I got that at what I show, 120 people, $2,970. there pleasure of the council or any discussion?
Do we know which companies are going to provide, I guess, a server per se, like somebody that would bust the tables or help with the food on the line? Okay. So there were some differences. Stoney's, we noticed, didn't have any dessert. Full of Grace had salad and coffee. The Women's Club seemed to have everything that the other ones did.
Women's Club also bid at 140.
It's
What would the
$20.
price be at 120? 20?
Well, $20 a person is,
Okay.
if they want to keep the number the same, yeah. And then, the chalkboard was $24.75 a person. But they have a large amount of sides that I don't know that we would need all that.
So for the women's club, if you're only doing 120 plates,
It'd be 2,400.
One at Full of Grace, I saw, all the stuff they had it, they had a lot of stuff to pick in. So they look good. They have more than Stoney's, what I think.
this needed, this, that they sent her, so that's the Full of Grace menu, you can pick whatever you want off of it. And turkey, pork,
There's a little bit of everything. I saw all of that.
there's about 30 sides and.
And also, being this is, like I say, Stoney's is $13 a head. If we just have reservations for 100, we just pay for 100. We won't pay for the 120. Am I reading that right?
Yes, sir, all of them are, they go to price per plate.
Per person, so if it's lower, then the price will
And
be
then
lower.
if it's more, then they would bill us for the remaining plates.
I'll make a motion that we allow Stoney's to do the catering. I think it's important. We got two bids tied for the bottom, for the lowest, and one's in town, one's not, and I think it's important we do business with our local vendors. I mean, when it's the same money.
That was the one that I mentioned about, we've done the desserts from the Satsuma group. I guess it was their special events group. Do we know what we spent on
I
the?
don't recall, but we still have to pay that bill in addition if we use the school as well.
Sure, so saying it would be 13, we need to add that, yeah.
It'd be 13 plus. No, I really didn't look over it, I'm not sure if one of them includes everything or not.
Stoney's was the only one that didn't have dessert. And did we do the Women's Club last year? Yeah, and the hopes was that the money would go towards the Union Chapel. I know that's why we chose them to help with the fundraising on that.
Well, we're allowed to do that, being they're not the low bidder.
Yeah, in your budget, you said was 17.
Now, you want to, are we allowed to do that, being they're not low?
Oh, I don't, because of the dollar amount, I don't think we have to go with the lowest bidder. I think we just go with what satisfies our
Oh,
needs,
okay.
yeah.
I thought we had to go with the low bidder.
We budgeted 1,750, 1,700.
Also, we have that budget.
Yeah, 1,700.
Well, I don't know if we can do this because we've put it out already, but if, I do agree with Mr. Phillips that keeping it in the city would be good. The budget's 1,700, that leaves us 140. I don't know if we could, just get with the women's club and get them to supply some desserts for the remainder of that to take it, so they can maybe have some cake or something that, at the end of the thing. I mean, that, they usually do pretty good with that.
Mayor, I'll be surprised we have 122. What's the average?
I was gonna say, if we have 75 people, we could spend $22.67 per person. And, I'm sorry.
I think the average that Satsuma has always had in attendance is 100 plus. We've always had over 100.
I think with the count last month also, it might be more this time.
I think they Sims
Well,
140.
They had a good bit, but they also had a lot of open spaces. Unfortunately, people will RSVP and not show up.
Yep.
So that's hard.
They had a comedian,
Do what?
so they had a comedian, so.
Well, being right on Thanksgiving, I do believe we'll have 100, but I don't know we'll have much over that, I wouldn't think. If we add 100, that'd be $1,300. That'd still leave us $400, stay within the budget to do something else. Okay, I'm fine with Stoney's and for them to do something else if that's what y'all want to do, but I'm certainly open to whatever y'all want to. And I didn't come here with anything set, so let's.
The only thing I ask of Stoney's, if, let's make sure that silverware is good enough for a meal. So make sure the plate is sturdy and that the silverware is sturdy.
Did they say they were supplying that?
It says utensil packets and plates, so I know that if I remember in the past, there may have been an issue with the serving of the utensils.
Okay.
Motion still up?
Yeah, that's what you got a motion on the floor.
Well, I thought, like I said, I thought we had to go with the lowest bidder, and y'all said we didn't have to do that, so, I have no problem with Stoney's or, like I say, let the women's club, so. Because we might have them big crowds because of the meals we got in the past.
Do you think if we amended the menu, possibly took off maybe, just throwing this out there, like took off cranberry sauce and a sweet potato casserole and kept the two sides with the green beans and macaroni and cheese and then just had the sheet cake? Maybe like a vanilla chocolate, one of each or something. I don't know how many cakes y'all are gonna make, but would it be possible to trim down the $20 per person if we trim the menu some?
We could possibly do that. My question to the council is, did all these organizations have the same menu?
No, they're all different.
See, we've done a whole lot cheaper.
See, yours is turkey and dressing and gravy. Stoney's, of course, is, it's barbecue.
We were presented that menu that said this is what y'all want. So that's what we based our price on.
Oh, I don't. Was that Miss Edith had asked y'all to provide the pricing for that?
Yeah, that was not our idea. We were called by someone in the city.
Okay.
Presented the menu to us, so we assumed that everybody that was going to put in the bid had the same menu.
Sure.
Which would have made it a lot more competitive. Yeah. That's a good word. I mean, we could do barbecue for a whole lot cheaper.
Sure.
We could beat Stoney's price. So.
Well, I mean,
It just doesn't seem fair to us that y'all didn't present everybody with the same menu to get this price. I mean, it's just, we can give you something off the top of our head, a lot cheaper.
Sure.
address your question, we could trim it some.
Okay. Well, I thought these were your offerings. I'm sorry, I just misunderstood it, that, I understand. Yes,
The only
ma'am.
thing the city didn't give us was dessert, and we had dessert.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What- It's the pleasure of the council. I'm ready to, let's put this to rest. I think we need to go.
You know, I kind of feel like being it's a fundraiser for the chapel, we're kind of paying ourselves too. You know, because,
That's
We're
what the
kind-
reasoning was last
yeah,
year.
and I'd put it in form of motion, we allow the women's club to do the dinner.
So maybe you would suggest 2 entrees of their choice that go along with the sides.
I'm not gonna get that detail, they said, let them do the dinner and,
I said possibly presenting two entrees that would match accompanying sides. Not sticking to
I
the
kind of
menu.
like turkey and dressing.
A flexible menu.
Yeah, and it's fine with us. I mean, we were doing it to help the city out and also to help us out, but, we're fine any direction you want to go. I mean, Stoney's is fine, whoever is fine. We just.
Why don't we just do it at a not to exceed price on the dinner, let them figure out what they can do in that price range.
Or can we do Stoney's and then get the ladies' club to do desserts?
If you do that, you probably have to put it out, not to exceed, you probably have to give all those people the same opportunity to change their menu.
I gotcha, okay.
Because what I'm saying is, she's saying, I think, to give Stoney's what they proposed, and just buy dessert from would award the bid tonight from what we asked to go out, and just give that to Stoney's, and then turn around and give the additional amount of money, because we can do that and just go dessert with them. I don't see no issue with that, okay? Because kind of the low bid is in place, that's Stoney's, we can do that, and we can give the, like I said, if we get down to 110 people, that'd still leave you $300 for the desserts. So y'all think y'all can make any money at $300 to $400 for desserts and do that?
Yes, we could. It wouldn't be a lot, but it's not a lot of trouble either, so. We just need an amount of 100 people, whatever, a couple days ahead of time.
Well, we can give you that. What day do we request for the count to come in?
Oh, y'all just need to tell me.
What day?
No, for
what's
the
deadline?
league, for us to give them a number of, people that RSVP.
Yeah, so whatever, I guess whoever the caterer is, that would be deciding, the final count would just be up to what the city decides. Because I'll need to put that, give that to Newton so he can include it in the invite. And are they RSVPing to Edith? No. To you, okay.
If we give them a date that
Y'all cut off a date.
RSVP by.
Friday before.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, we'd probably need to do more than that.
Sometimes, most of the times we do the Thursday before,
That sounds good.
so 1 week prior to the event, which would be next Thursday.
Veterans Day.
Say they're coming in Dalton.
Yeah, but
But Edith needs to know, so, because she does do the door prizes.
Yeah, but I would say that'd be fair to RSVP at least a week in advance.
18th, Thursday the 18th.
So we'll know. And then we'll know what we have available for them. Okay, so we're going to do Stoney's for the meal. And then the Ladies Club for desserts.
That's your motion, Mr. Phillips.
Is that your motion?
I done made 2 at no seconds. I'll make one.
All right, there's a motion on the floor from Mr. Phillips to award the bid for the meal for Stoney's. It did not include a dessert, and we will then contract with the Ladies Club to provide desserts. We'll determine that amount, but that amount will, let's just say, will not exceed $500 for sure.
I can second that.
Okay, thank you. Motion made by Mr. Phillips and seconded by Mr. Skelton. We're going to award the bid to Stoney's for the municipal dinner for the said price, $13 apiece, approximately $1,560. And then we're going to contract with the Ladies Club not to exceed $500 to supply the desserts for that night. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay, the next thing we'll move on is the final thing on the speaker for that night. Without dragging out this a lot longer, it does look like that there's going to be a lot of change in the redistricting that's facing this end of the county. I think that's going to be a topic that night of the dinner, but I'm not sure that we're going to be far enough in or have the final, know exactly where the lines are going to be. So I do believe that will be something that's discussed that night. But I'd also like to have a speaker that relays information that's pertinent to all the cities or the county throughout the whole county. And I would like to see the dinners get back to where that the speaker has things, I don't care if it's 911 or if it's EMA, personnel board, revenue, something that's like that. So that would be my suggestion if y'all have any thoughts along those lines.
Sounds good to me.
So, y'all agree that that would be. And also, I want to make another suggestion. I can get with either any of y'all when we confirm, but I'm going to recommend that we have a speaker, and we're going to try to stay on a time schedule because some of the dinners get 9:30, all that. I mean, it's a long way to drive. And I think you see that by having the dinners that go longer, and some of the people don't come back, but, you know, it's hard to get the people to come from Central Nail and Dauphin Isle and Ballabattery and all, even if they stay in real late. I think, especially with the holiday season, they like to eat and get in and out in a reasonable amount of time. So if we start at 7, I'd like to see us be concluded by 9, you know. So whatever we do, I would like to make sure we keep the time schedule.
Mayor, I don't know what that solution might be, but if we figure out a different way to do door prizes, I know that takes a while at the end. Now, I don't know what that solution will be, you know, but to cut that down, but.
You know, and some of them, instead of handing it out, they like make a wreath or put something special on the table, or they just go by and put a gift bag at the end, and there's somebody at the table, every table wins, and it's not, like you said, all that drawing and then having a handout and go. So let's look at something along those lines. I agree, that was a good point. Okay, C was the add-on from Mr. Skelton. Jason?
Yes, sir. I make a motion to consider the 2.5% across-the-board pay raise for city employees.
Second.
Any discussion? Motion made by Mr.
Now, we have already put that in the budget, correct?
Correct.
And we just, time-wise, we just hadn't decided when to start it. Is that correct?
Right, so we would have to tell the personnel board when to make it effective, in which pay period.
And what are you suggesting there?
We get it, you get them the notification. Heather, when would that be?
But I mean, it's just rubber stamp.
Yeah.
Yes.
They just have to have time to update it in their system as well. I would say that, I would suggest November, I think it's November 26th, that's toward the end of the month, that gives them time to do their meeting and us to update as well.
And then would we have to come back another meeting to, so that would be it?
That would be it. If you just, if you're approving this tonight for a said date, whatever date you want to start. Just needs to be a check date.
Mayor, any thoughts?
Now, if it's, if that's the pay period today, and just,
So the pay period would end on the 19th, and it would be effective on the November 26th payroll, that check date. Okay, so I'm not-
any other discussion? Got a motion on the floor with a second from Mr. Skelton, seconded by Ms. Reese. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed.
Thank y'all.
Resolution ordinances, orders and other business. Resolution 2021-10-03, the budget. I think that,
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-10-03 for our fiscal year 2022 budget.
Second.
Second.
Oh, oops, sorry.
motion made and seconded. Motion made by Mr. Skelton, seconded by Mr. Little. Did we introduce this at the last meeting?
Yes, sir, you're all gonna do it, and then with the ARP plan, we talked about it a little bit earlier, since it was discussed then and approved and voted on this all.
I want to make sure that I abstain. Remember?
On the next one, not this one.
This is the budget, Mr. Bowles.
Yeah, I want to make sure.
I was wondering why you were standing on the budget, but, okay. Motion and a second been made. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Next one, B, Resolution 2021-10-04. That's the American Rescue Plan Incentive Pay.
I'll make a motion, we approve Resolution 2021-10-04.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Skelton, seconded by Mr. Little, to approve the said ordinance. All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Those opposed. Have one person abstaining from the vote, Mr. Butler. Any further business come before the council tonight?
Mayor, I just wanted to make sure that whenever you secure the guest speaker, just let me know, and I'll be sure to add that person to the agenda.
Okay, well, I will call tomorrow. I just wanted to make sure that we were all in agreement, or that nobody had somebody that they were going to request before I finalized that, so.
Yes, sir.
For that. That's all the businesses on the agenda for tonight. So if there's no other business before the council, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and second to adjourn. We're adjourned. Thank y'all for attending tonight.